she's just a character, right? Or is she a spy? Is she haunted? Multiple personalities. Maybe an exceptional actress caught in a role she didn't audition for. But here's the twist. What if her game is actually yours? Every scene, every word, every glitch you ignore, that's all a clue. There are no coincidences, and nothing here is ever random. If you haven't figured it out yet, ask yourself why not. Start paying attention to what triggers you, because that might be the exact thing you've been missing. Welcome to the game.
Hello and welcome to day 1 of training. So it is extremely important that today you take time to create a vision for yourself.
But Warren, you can be the fucking Andrew Huberman, I guess, right? With all the fucking stuff with the science and the nerd shit that I don't care about in products that I never did. You need those people, right? But you guys just, I don't need to know those fucking details. Just like I don't watch fucking Huberman's podcast. We're just in no more.
And your vision might have been something that years ago came to you that you might have to revisit, because maybe at one point in your life you felt like you are meant to do something more and something's not right, and you're feeling like a little bit of anxiety because you feel like you're stuck, but at the same time you feel like you're hopeful for the future, and it can be very overwhelming and confusing.
So, Daddy, it's your fault. You tricked Arnold into this cult.
So, you do what you want with these videos when you need to, and I'm fine with that, obviously, and at some point I'll release them where I need to in a different way. But
I was a cartoon yesterday after everybody broke out of cages and all you guys' money's in my trailer. Yeah!
But having full ownership of them is fine by me. And there's a reason for that, because when you trust people to have your back, and you do business with people who you genuinely care about, respect, you're on the same page, you don't get screwed over. And
yeah, it goes by pretty fast. Started to the Beast thing, and then all of that, and then come through, then Gorilla and all that, right into the Kong. But I still have that because I have bigger balls than all you guys, so I actually get the 18K back. So I'm the fucking Gorilla, right? It's like they just stole it from you guys. I'm still back in time. Where's my money?
so this course and this training, what we are doing is we are teaching attraction marketing. And one of the biggest things and the most important things with attraction marketing is the fact that we have to be authentic and real in order for it to work the most effectively, because you get to build the life you want. Now, it's a real marriage, sweetheart. Can't testify against you, right? I'll always lie for you. Just give me my money back. And most people in business are only out for themselves and for profits, and that has destroyed our planet.
Yeah, coping mechanisms. Why do my sentences trail off, or I don't make sense to people, blah, blah, blah. Trying to get people to listen. And that's when it's sped up. Put me on a stage, I do a presentation. People are generally more interested in listening. You get so distracted when you're a person that's, hey, try it, guys. You professors, you doctors, you actors, you people, when you don't get your respect, how fast your thoughts change. You're not going to be able to stay in your role. You'll look pretty fucking mentally ill, won't you?
Hello and welcome. When you think of mindfulness, I want you to actually start thinking of your own mind, right? Almost like a video game or a board game, if that's easier for you to understand. Video games might be a little bit complicated for some, so let's simplify it. Now, you can be successful for sure. I can train you, teach you how to be successful and make money, but what happens is you won't be fulfilled. And it's amazing to see everybody going, oh, Bill Gates will fix it. Not alone. That's not alone. So last year, you can check my Netflix, my Netflix account and stuff, and see when it was that I started watching. I know I didn't watch much of it, but the story of Bill Gates and what he was doing in the world with his wife. So what a power couple. Okay, I need out of this acting thing, right? With all these lines and learning this stuff and everything. It's taking up too much of my fucking time. I got other shit to do. And that's useless. And I don't believe in that myself. I didn't get to where I am because I said I wanted to do it in a fake way. I needed to do it in the most authentic, real way. And that's the type of leader I want to be, because that's the type of leader I want to find. And that's why I believe you found these videos, because I genuinely believe that that's you. So tell me this pen. This looks like a cheap shit Bic pen. Why would anyone want that? Sell me that. Sell me this pen. Well, I can tell you this pen has been in contact with some of the richest, most powerful people in the world, and actually contains a specific potion that's inside the pen that looks like ink. It looks like ink. However, if you were to take this out, right, and put it into something specific that comes along with the pen but you know what, I'll be honest, you can't afford it, but let's just pretend you could afford this pen. We would ship you the other thing that comes along with it that piece goes into, and then all of a sudden all your dreams come true, almost like a magical lamp, right? But what's the difficulty here? Well, pen's not for sale. Can't have it. Now you want it more, don't you? Can make all your dreams come true. How are you gonna get a hold of this pen? Like I said, it looks like every other cheap shit pen, but it's not. Why? Because of what's inside it and who it was owned by. Who is the owner of the pen? What's the pen worth? Like I said, you can't afford it. Wait, what? But I'm rich. I'm a billionaire. I can buy anything I want. This is a currency class, not a money class. Why can't you afford this pen? The Gates Foundation is something that I definitely 100% back, and it's something that I'm telling anyone that they need to, because they've actually been genuinely trying to save this planet. And the misunderstanding of billionaires and where the shift's been, everybody has been so separate, and the fact that nobody's been working together is where we have a problem. Zuckerberg, they say you're in the Illuminati too, right? That's the rumor? Don't make the group look stupid. Because what has happened is everybody's going off trying to solve this puzzle, and everybody's built these separate teams, which I see. And because of these separate teams, okay, that's really distracting. And these separate teams and all of that, trying to solve the same thing, nobody was working together the right way. So there was a lot of a mix match, and I said, people going into space right now, we're parking the spaceships, because if we don't save this planet, there's no chance for any of us, because let me tell you, I get how it works. I don't know how to convert from 359.1 for gas. I don't know what that means. And I'm 100% sure on that. I was told last year in a message that I needed to find Bill Gates. And I remember me being me, nobody going, what the hell, that doesn't even make sense. However, in my other world, when I'm having these, it made perfect sense. I just told myself that I'd have for the rest of my life to do that. I didn't realize the timelines had to be dramatically sped up. That's what they did for me. So what is a vision board, and what's the importance of a vision board? Well, I'll explain to you, as you've wanted to know, I'm sure, what we're actually doing here. Leading with a purpose, there's no part in being, I'm a reluctant leader, that is for sure. Do I love public speaking? Yes, I don't fear public speaking. In fact, I crave public speaking. Oh, yeah, I'm calling out Belfort. Yeah, you created the fucking stupid Frank. Thank you. And I hate him. So you're fucking whatever. And everyone else, right? You guys, it's not looking good. Get me my fucking 18K back. I will not let that go. You're a group of losers until I get it.
So but the difference is you have to be speaking to the right audience, because when you're speaking to the wrong audience, they will eat you up, spit you out, make you feel like you are nothing and worthless. And that is where the world of Hollywood and all of that, I was told to help, because if you haven't seen how you've been used and abused and just manipulated as part of the system, then you've missed the point too. And if you've been on networks and a politician and different things, you have been used and abused too. Because there's been something else going on here for a very long time, and we have not been able to speak about this openly, and we still can't.
America gets a point where apparently with the Starbucks card you get refills. I've been paying double. So Canada, what the fuck, Starbucks? We're in a stock challenge. Who's the fucking wolf? I turned into a werewolf a long time ago, bitches.
And that's why I'm safe enough now to be able to speak about it, because I know that there is no possible way that any of this content will get into the wrong hands anymore, because the biggest people in the world have backed me. And how have they backed me? The truth is, in a way of communication that only people in this would ever be able to understand. And that is why I've been able to solve these puzzles and these clues, because I know who I am. But you had to get me to find my own self-worth enough to believe in myself. And that was the missing piece of all this, but it had to be specific dates, specific times, specific ways.
So when you come to the gym, would you prefer, are you a cardio person or a weight person? Just one of the two if you had to decide. We're not getting in the mix of all these other things. Just more, would you prefer cardio or weights? What's cool about this whole training and experience is the fact that you have to see yourself as special and not special.
So if I feel myself being adopted as a daughter by Melinda and Bill, then I know who was, writing messages was, and I just knew which child or who was taking over my body to do that. So I pieced those things together at different times on different dates, because there was a missing piece component. So we knew I kept speaking of grandpa and being granddaughter, but in that world needed a father. So even though I was adopted myself, that I understood at different times, but it had to be received the other way. I had to see the connection of the two and get confirmation in those things.
Well, this is Lululemon, right? And then this is Gymshark. So which way are we going with that? Because we can't have the Nike thing because of the sweatshop, right? We can't let people know that we're part of that.
So when I decided to make Tony my father at a young age, because I wanted to have somebody to aspire to that I felt was the right type of person. So that was something I held on to, but it had to be some way to get that message. How do you get through to a network and something that's so big and so incredible when they're surrounded by so many people, when you don't have millions of dollars? So if Tony only takes 7 clients and is charging a couple $1,000,000 or whatever it is, how are you supposed to get through to that? Well, a different way. So when I started the ClickFunnels Challenge in February, I told myself I was all in because I wanted to understand fully the internet. And on day 6, I understood that this game was something far bigger than just the internet.
Well, it seemed like, I don't know, it was weird because with the speaker, it seemed like it was like Frank Grillo, and it seemed like it was Tony Robbins, and then it seemed like it was Robert Kiyosaki, right? But that's weird. And then it seemed like Eric was sitting in the chair, and then Bill Gates. Well, that's just, huh? Okay.
I did understand that. I just didn't understand how significant my role was in it, because that's too overwhelming in this world to process. So I had to get enough belief to get me there. And the truth is, I'm still extremely scared. I'm still in a denial, but I'm not. Like, I'm fully all in, and I do everything that I'm asked to, when I'm asked. I'm just, it's such a difficult balance because I have to deal with so many real world things here and make sure I'm accounting for other people's feelings and everything else, because I'm a natural people pleaser. However, I had to break away from being a people pleaser to do the right thing and then see where those cards lie. But it still means I still do the right thing the right way, because when I do that, it keeps the timelines accurate for everyone else to move on to the part of the story that they need to move on to, because we all have our specific roles in a different way. I opted in for the world domination thing, right? So the only way to do that is to kill everybody on the whole planet, right? So I opted in for that. Boom. So obviously try to declare a world war here. So it's going to be officially, right? Like, from you guys are on the one side of the rainbow, which is garbage, right? And then boom, we're on the other side. So that's everybody that's ever died on your side and all that crap, right? So we're taking everyone, and everybody's taking a stand to say, nah, back off, guys, right? Until you can get your shit together, and that means getting the fucking money back, right? You're all broke. And that's the coolest thing, is that nobody's above you and nobody's below you in this process. We are one and we are a team. So the most important thing is that you believe in yourself, because like you, or I've honestly been at times where I've just thought, like, what am I doing? Like, who am I to dream so big? And who am I to think that I'm ever going to achieve that type of a goal? Obviously, $7 points, right? We need that 300,000 in the ground. And that's the part of healing, but it breaks my heart to see anyone else hurt, just like it breaks your heart to see me hurt, or anyone else's too. And that's how that has kind of pieced together. So, he was the first person I was told by angel, spirit, faceless, that I needed to find, and it was extremely important to do so. And
oh, it's back to double jeopardy, because New Orleans really is sinking, right? Titanic, I told you bitches, boarded that ship October 31st in Southampton, and then what happened? All right, a pandemic. I told you I'd take the whole fucking thing. Jordan, you still can't afford the pen, not until my money's back.
And when I see the timelines and how they match up, and then the dates, it always works out perfectly. So I was medicated from the time I was 15, and then I started going off my medication about this time last year, I think, ish, give or take. I was still probably taking it sometimes. So it was like I wasn't consistent with taking it. So obviously that kept me not having a memory, and I just would go on. Not having a memory, I have to be very, careful and clarifying that I still knew about my abuse. I still knew, but you get things in patches and you just move on, right? So that's where they diagnose people ADD or all of those things. It's scatterbrain. We'll see it with my daughter. The fact that she has such severe learning disability and ADD is because her father didn't believe her with the type of abuse that she was going through. I'm starting to lose feeling in my hands again. My hands going numb. You will, if you don't give up on yourself. And this video is here because I want to poke at you a little bit and find out where you really want to be. So there is a download attached to this, and it's really important, if there's certain things that are brought up or you're irritated by or you're noticing or you're motivated or whatever, because what's going to happen is as you do challenges like this, your life will start to be a reflection of what's really going on around you. So, okay, am I having to agree with the Polish on this? The missile was an accident? and it shuts her down. And then I tried to save her, but as a little child, she doesn't understand that. And then it's kids can't comprehend that, so they just phase out in different ways. And that's where there's so much misunderstandings about mental health, and there's so many misdiagnoses, and there's so many different things. Nobody in history has done what I've done.
Food culture, I got into fight culture.
I don't do well,
and I traveled around because I wanted to understand.
I think you guys figured that out. This way to prove what post-traumatic stress disorder is. It's being done in different parts, and people were studying it and different things, but nobody was able to piece it together because they had to be on the other side and have no connection to what those people were putting together scientifically. There had to be real proof. So I fully understand that. And in understanding spirits and understanding different things in different worlds. Well, that seems like when even though it just said icing sugar, it said keto, I didn't look at the fucking carbs, right? And then I did my thing that said 65 grams of carbs that like in my day. So then I'm out of ketosis already. So when do I take these ketones and whatever the fuck? So you told you I wouldn't do it right. Well, fuck, right? The instructions are very unclear because you guys aren't organized over there. I'm still blaming you. It's just the type of person I am. When I was first raped or whatever, I guess I've been living my life. Really, I inherited the spirit of men, and then got stronger and stronger with more men that lived in me. I guess so. You go, okay, well, how does this work? Well, with body, I would have been a gay man. That's what I like, because I'm not like, with what happened to me, and then I got stronger and the different people that were able to take over and inhabit my body over the years, because I was not a traditional, girl, in the sense that, I wanted to be, but in this world I didn't have the I didn't grow up the way that other, you see in the movies and people growing up in there, I wanted to be, want to be married and monogamous and kids and the white picket fence and all of those things. And that's like what we want to hold on to because we see that in Hollywood. However, again, you guys know I'm not actually a prostitute, right? Like, I've never done that, and even in your fictional prostitute world, like, I don't get any of the money, which is why you have to get me the 18K back, even though you're prostituting me out. Not being able to figure that out or do that, or because you have such a skewed vision of what a healthy relationship is. So I had to find out how to find a healthy relationship on my own. I just, the best ways that I could, but you still don't see that you're still so shaped by your past and by what people tell you, and you have to break away at each psychological abusive thing all along the way in order to see your worth. That's just how it works. But not so jealous that I'm the type that'll never react to yourself about them. And that's how we are all connected to each other. So when I was told I'm looking for 12 saints, there's a couple discoveries that have been missing in that. So where the number 12 comes from, obviously the Last Supper, 12 areas of my program that were always the number 12. 13 becomes a significant number because that's what they say, Mary not included in the pictures and blah, 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 blah. But there was a major missing component to that because there wasn't just her missing. Call me the Amber, sure. All my lies are what's saving everyone. Well, that one's not a lie. There was the other half of all of those souls. Not, as Leonardo da Vinci states, not just females, feminine energy. So you can be a male with the more present feminine energy. And so the more evolved a person becomes, you live your life opposite, not even knowing. So the first part of my life, my spirits lived inside me, men.
Fighting, like
I just really want this money back, right? Like, I'm gonna do and say anything, right? Like every fucking lie, I'm gonna throw everybody under the bus.
So
I'm gonna use blackmail,
oh man, it's devastated.
manipulation,
But I took
everything,
his format,
like all of it.
And
And as you gave me strength, I became and flipped finally a woman. So, but more of it, that's why I didn't have really interest in women, experiment with this and that, but I've always had obsessive, crazy people. Like really, everybody questions their sexuality. It's either you choose to ignore it or you don't. And why? But because it was taught to us that in the Bible and in religion that it's wrong to be homosexual, which is very inaccurate, because that is not back. And I know because I have my memories. I've been put in the position where I've been so isolated that my memories are so good that I remember the beginning of time. Get your fucking Americans and shutting out the power and all that crap and whatever else, right? But without this money back, no, you didn't prove shit. So no, right? So then that's not even gonna work. Whatever you're saying there. That we don't live like that. Go watch Avatar. We are our spirits are, this is just here. It's not, and we move around and we can do those things. We just have to have a permission and know who we're working with and who's who and identify each other. So one disciple, one of the 12 is always 2. Illuminati's not gonna just let you guys win, I know what gang I'm in. Plus, some Freemasons that took my fucking 18K back there, werewolves. The bodies, that's just how it works. And those things were written out of history because then there would be no ability to shift the power, because the truth is it was the white man who created the lies and religion and all of that, because they're the furthest from evolution. And that's the irony of the whole thing. And only the ones who are balanced enough to be able to believe in everything and see everything and understand everything. As I told you, I remember being a T-Rex. So is my husband recognizing me, or how's this gonna work, right? If we're just different species, can truly be empathetic and let other people's thoughts and visions in. And it's why I had to be abused in every possible way that this world in this lifetime would have to offer, because then it opened up my abilities to be able to see other people's pain. And it's why when I was a kid or a teenager, I would cry myself to sleep over, people not eating in Africa and people, like, all of those things always concerned me. I'm still married to Jesus, Satan, fucking relax. However, as time goes on and life gets harder, we become more and more selfish in different ways too, but we need to be. And that's what in the ways of, if I don't put my oxygen mask on first, I'm never going to be able to save anyone else. And I was always trying to save everyone without putting on my own, and, recognizing the people that were doing that. And that's what my role was sent here to do, is recognize all the people that just kept, you think you're putting on your own oxygen mask. You've built, look at what you've built. Thank God. Look at what everything you've done. And I'm sent here to remind you and say thank you, truly, because you've been so grateful and you live your life in gratitude, and I know that. But truthfully, nobody really understood your loneliness and pain. But now you know that other people do, and other people feel the same, and now you're seen. Because our thoughts, and that's why you need science and God, are connected to each other. And it's why we can hear each other and see each other. However, I got limited clothes. Does the shoes any good? Is the purse not? No. All right. Is any of this good? Does it even make sense wearing fucking heels where I'm going into the walking? Nope. Nothing makes sense. So let's go. Impossible without the technology, because the energy has to shift to the right people and be in the right places. And it's been kept secret and hidden in different ways to continue to fuel the world's, biggest mafia. Religion and the government. What's a conspiracy theory? to mail all these letters, right? Because the ghosts want to make sure that they get a fucking vote in this election. It's impossible that people don't understand that but we have to let it go because they're just doppelganger versions in different ways, and your own following, you're responsible for because that fits your timeline. That's how it works. So the more you expose of your stories, the more people can relate to you and more people understand, and they're going to go one of two ways, because when they hate you, they're hating a part of themselves. Just want to remind everybody it's the country you're born in, that you have to work with that team. So we're axing people tonight, and then it goes to the continents. So that's why I will, as much as we're fucking allies here, right? You're born in America and this whole thing. So then I'll have to come back around, right? That was the whole thing yesterday with Keanu, right? So John Wick, right? Wasn't born in fucking Canada. You just grew up here, right? So then that's the Middle East stuff, and then I have to cut because then I have to threaten the genie, right? Because where's the desk, right? So that's not a whole other thing. And I'm fucking stuck working with Ryan again. Fuck. So you have to be okay, and you have to love yourself for the mistakes you have made and be strong enough, because that part of your story is what's going to save them. Because if you've been putting out and portraying this illusion of perfection, you're making it impossible for anyone to be able to achieve that. And if you've ever uttered the statement, "Do you know who I am?" This is where you're put to shame and embarrassed. And that's fine. Because I can see all of your embarrassments. Like I said, you've given me this incredible power, because I'm not going to ever abuse it. I can joke and I can tease you back and forth, and as I become more comfortable in this world to do that, because I have these abilities in my head and the things that I see, I don't share a lot. I share probably about 1%. So I don't tell you what I know. That is my secret power, I guess, ability, is I learned how to do that when I was a little girl to keep myself safe. And I still know how to do it to keep myself safe, because look at what happened to me. And what happened was all these memories so fast, so much, my body and my brain couldn't process it, and I was somewhere else. Because when I'm somewhere else, I can speak openly, and I can speak to my family, friends, people. Family now we say, because we understand each other as a family. Our family is not just blood. We're connected in a different way because we're from something else. And it sounds totally ridiculous to people who, and this is what I say, it sounds like an arrogant asshole, but they're too small-minded, right? And that's just because that's wherever they are in their lines, and they have to die and come back into somebody else, and that's how we get more strength, right? I don't know, Andrew, you're supposed to be my lab partner, and people are betting on it that we can pull something out. So, are you really qualified for this fucking position or not, right? Because if you fuck the group, it's gonna be a whole other thing, right? I'm not gonna be, right? That I'm fucking holding my end. I'm not sure about you though. Did I choose the right partner in this or what? The marriage dynamics just got to work out who's selling who and who's fine with it, and then at different times for what. That's in all areas. Death. Spirits go where they need to go, and if you ignore them, they will make you insane. So this year is the year that every scripture, written notes, whatever, codes, all of it come together, and only the people who have been able to follow this story, which is only 1% of the population, the true one, will know exactly where the cards lie and who's who. So I try to piece things together at different times, and it slows me down from other things, obviously, because that's how it is. I don't have control over that. I surrendered myself over to them, a higher power, you, whoever, because that's my calling, and I'm fine with it. It's just overwhelming, so
we've had to do it this way, and it's why everybody needed to heal, because it allows, things to die that need to die, and then we are reborn into the way we need to be reborn. And that's why we have immortality, because these bodies don't mean anything. But if we're in the right place, and we have enough belief and we do it the right way, when we die, we get to choose who we come back as and where we go, so that we can stay in our family and our loved ones. And we've been separated for so long. Well, it was a lot. That was amazing. It's like I felt myself. Okay, you had to make me an award, and then goes into you, Alex. Right? Then we start this stand thing, and right into Satan, and right, get my money back. And everybody's visions of apocalypse and all of that stuff in the year 2000, and why it related to computers and blah 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 blah, was because it had to do with this timeline. But in order to keep everyone safe, we had to change that 20 years, because there would have been too much of the wrong chaos and the power in the wrong places, and we had to mind fuck people into believing that part of it. Also because true time machines and all of the stuff we've done has to align, because everybody has to go back to being where they need to be, and it has to be perfectly aligned, because a soulmate is you. It's yourself in a different body, and that's why you have the same brain. So it's an interesting component, because a soulmate doesn't always, too, for what people understand, it's the love that we've been missing or needing. So for some people it's that romantic component in relationships. Some people it's the friendship. Some people it's the father-daughter. Some people it's the mother-daughter. Some people it's the mother-son. Some people it's the father-son. Whatever it is, whatever's been missing that we've all been searching for, the underlining thing we have all been looking for isn't just answers to this game or this puzzle or this ridiculous thing that we've been trapped in. I think I'm just going to keep the Xerxes character, right, with this fucking dog head mummy thing, right, and all the gold and all that, right, like, because I said, fine, right, I'm just going to keep it this way, but he wants his shit back, right, worship false gods. Well, let's lead you into a trap. I told you guys, right, most trap. I was honest with you. It is love, and you have to first give it to yourself and know you're worthy enough, because if you don't feel that way, you're not going to be able to find the answers that you're looking for. And that's why 1%, that 1% of the population, if you've been given these gifts and these blessings and everything, is responsible for the rest of the world. You're responsible for the 99%. So if we don't clean up this planet, look what we've done in the last 100 years. I'm going to speak very plainly here. There is no 100 years left in this planet if we don't fix it now. Well, Sarah said that says like I'm going to report a spy at the conference. We're all so far into this and so much shit. Like, I literally, we can't do anything but getting this 18K back in the desk, and I mean, not getting a job or making money in the MLS. Like, we're too far in. We'd all be so fucked. So what does that have to do with boxing and real estate and charities? If you don't take the money you have made and the billions of dollars you have generated and the things you have done, if you don't put that resources into fixing this climate, the pollution, all of this, there is no 100 years. This is the apocalypse. This is World War III. It's invisible because it's in our brains, and only the gifted are the ones who can see it. Apparently, I'm wearing this because I'm pregnant, Barbie. Fuck you, Andrew. Well, I guess Army can still be Army, even though there's other people following that character. But Henry, I guess Scott kicked you out of your body. I've had an ability, I've said, since I was a child, when I see things that are horror, like, so some people, like abusive people, can see demons, can see all of those things, of course. aliens, whatever the hell you see, those are all real. They're just in different timelines. And that's what the misunderstanding of mental health is. For me, I just said I have a wild imagination, and when those things came, I kicked their ass and I told them to get the fuck out because I had other shit to deal with. And I guess that's my role in this. I didn't realize how strong my abilities were to do that. And when I went back into the scariest place ever, the Vatican and those things, I couldn't even in this world really go in there, because the visions and the things and what really lives there is scary as fuck. And that is why Mother Teresa is with Tony. I will go into a little, I have to do this in sections. Oh, actually, we'll stop. I'll do a new video for you. You want a hot tub on this boat? Have you found one you want yet? Overall, did we come up with, now everybody understand, we're playing a game together, right? It's a game. There was a game, we fixed the game, now it's a better game. Okay, so we're doing this thing now, right? So it's a global thing. You have to be, it is a global thing. We had to create a global problem, funny enough, to solve the world's problems, right? Because problems can't be solved at the same level of thinking. Nobody was thinking big enough. Everybody sucked, right? So equals suck. Now that we know we're all playing this game. All right, so there's teams and everything. How's that gonna work? Overall, we're going to look at the whole globe, right? And then we're going to divide it by continents. And there's going to be an education thing, right? As we do this and whatever, right? Okay. So how this is going to work, is this the only way to solve the world's problems, funny enough, is we're going to do the continents, right? Are the continent you were born in, right? Because we're not going to get into complications of anything. The continent you were born in is your first base team. That's how it's going to work. Not your race, not your gender, not your shit. That doesn't matter, okay? Continent you were born in. And you got to work with your continent. Okay. Then there's these subdivided things, and all of these subdivided contests for education, for whatever else, whatever they put people through, right? And then to get the continent to pass, you got to axe out your weakest links. Okay, so that's all in whatever ways. So we got different accounts going, we got everything else. So you can make allies with other continents and different things, yes, and everything to overall win your prizes in your game. But understand, you're still bound to your continent. So that has nothing to do with your family, that's how the teams are going to work. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Who's going to give away what and what time and whatever? Well, it depends, right? That'll be the whole thing. But that's what we've solve the world's problems by creating a bigger game. It's a universe game, right? To understand fucking physics and shit, and right, and but it's more fun, right? To learn like science and stuff and personal development and all that crap, right? It's a more fun way to do it. And we get to have war, right? So we're moving towards some sort of Eden and utopia thing, right? But nobody wants to do anything unless there's a competition and war. So that is what it is, but with good intentions. Okay, great. So that's the base. Know your teams, know your stuff, but understand that everybody gets axed out, right? So if you're a shit person with if you're following shit, you'll be axed out of the teams, because how we're gonna have to do this, right? So with this, there's the 7 continents. But there's like a global voting thing, right? Because there's only 2 teams, right? And we're going to axe out, right? We need to axe out 50% of the human population, funny enough. So that's the only way to do it. Well, I already fucking told you guys too, right? Like fucking Spielberg and Cameron said that they agreed to pay me more than DiCaprio. Just don't fucking let him know, otherwise he's one of those protesting types, fuck. Have you ever actually started to think, is there some like bigger conspiracy thing here that I'm not a part of, that I have no idea about, that everybody's making all this money off the internet, off social media, and you can't even figure out how to do a post? You know, you have an incredible business, you have a great product to offer, maybe you even have more experience and knowledge than the majority of people you're seeing that are just blowing up the internet and you know are killing it and doing really well, and you're sitting here going, is there something I am missing? What the heck is going on? What are those secrets? Are there